My name is Reverend Veronica Valles. It is a deep honor and privilege to be here. And I'm going to invite each one of us at around 6 o'clock in the morning to synchronize our hearts and radiate love to Reverend Lee every single day so that he feels that invisible force of love lifting him on this journey. So we are completing the Wonder Woman series. Who has not seen the movie yet? Oh, girl, come on now. We're going to have a party, a slumber party, all right? Because the four themes are powerful. So we're going to do a very short video today, but we're wrapping it up with wonder. We're going to review the four themes, and then I'm going to invite you guys to rise up. So if we can get the lights, Bonnie, this is a short video, just a 33-second video to get you in the mood. To go back to the series to understand the power of this movie. It's not just an action hero movie. It's not just a fabulous, Gal Gadot, just, with her super demigod powers, but the themes in this movie really are, for me personally, a guiding light. And so we're just going to review them very quickly. So we had power. Our first one was power. It was the power of love. And so what I talked about was our origin. Our unique divinity. This is what makes us just a little different. Our understanding that is God as us as unique incarnations. And in power, there was a decision that Wonder Woman Diana had to make. She had to answer that call. And then the empowerment is that Wonder Woman is a state of mind, whether you're male or female. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more in just a second about the divine masculine, the divine feminine. It lives within all of us. But we're focused on the divine feminine arising at this time in history because we're being called to a paradigm shift. We're being called to be something greater than that fear and separation that has led the way for thousands of years. So the second point, or the second theme, was grace. And the understanding of grace, that the divine God, that infinite intelligence, is always present. It's always available. We tend to feel it more in those times of deep pain or a tragedy, but grace is always present. And our remembrance is to surrender to that which is greater. And when we surrender to that which is greater, we're inviting that infinite love, that infinite power, that infinite presence to lift us in whatever the situation is. And we show up as grace for each other. So that was Mother's Day. There was a beautiful story of Mrs. Cooper. I would love for you to go back and hear that. So grace, the divine is always present. Surrender to that which is greater. We show up as grace for each other. And then wisdom is the paradox of light and shadows. It's embracing our humanity, our sweet little ego, like I like to call it, but we choose from our divinity. So that wisdom of God is a place that you actually attune to that which is greater and surrender. So then those moments when we're having our human experience, we can surrender to that which is greater, because once again, it is always available. And so you really can't see the divine feminine masculine, so I'll try to post it on Facebook, but let me just read some of the qualities so that we understand that all of this lives as us. So for the divine masculine, when we're moving in a healthy way with the divine masculine, it's about truth, clarity, focus, strength, logic, vision, encouragement, confidence, stability, discipline. That is a healthy divine masculine expressing. When we see war and separation, chaos, and any of the isms of the world, that is the unhealthy aspect, the shadow side of the masculine. For the feminine, divine feminine, we have love, cooperation, compassion, harmony, connection, creativity, forgiveness, generosity. And when we are living from that place of the divine feminine, which is what's seeking to arise right now, you're seeing the shift that all these qualities reside within us as we get to choose. But when we go back to the fear and separation, then we're in that part of the unhealthy aspects of the divine feminine and divine masculine. And I chose Wonder Woman because, one, we are in a paradigm shift where women are rising, but the invitation is for men to also recognize the divine feminine as your life. I did a service last year in Austin with Brene Brown's Daring Greatly, and where men were actually encouraged to look at their lives from the place where their divine feminine was suppressed. And I had men who were 70 years old coming up to me crying. I was not given permission to use my intuition, to be kind, or to have feelings. I was told that, I'm a sissy, or I'm not man enough. And it was like this breaking open of their heart in order to experience their totality. For women, when we are strong, there's a certain word that they call us, and I don't like it, and it rhymes with itch, okay? And so it's like we're not allowed, we've got these cultural conditioning that we have to dissolve, and we do it from our spiritual reality. We do it from the understanding that God, the allness and wholeness of God, is the presence showing up as us. So in Wonder Woman, the point of wonder that Patty Jenkins, the director, talks about is when they are at no man's land, all right? So Diana's there with Steve Trevor and the guys, and they're going to get Ludendorff, all right? They've got to stop the war. She thinks he's Ares, the god of war, all right? But she's stopping because this woman, grabs her and is crying, and, our villagers are being held as slaves, and there's no food, there's so much suffering. And Steve Trevor and the guys are going this way, and Diana, it's that moment where she awakens. She doesn't realize she's a demigod. She's trained as an Amazon, all right? So she's got these skill sets, which we talked about as our spiritual practices, our daily practices, our daily connection to God, source energy, our daily remembrance of our divinity, of how we get to show up in the world. But in that moment, she had to make a decision. Now, no man's land was that stretch where it was desolate, it was war-torn. They hadn't moved any inches. It's two sides fighting each other. And Steve Trevor's like, they've been here for a year. No one has moved an inch. And her thing is, well, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it, all right? And so the point of wonder, according to Patty Jenkins, is that moment that Diana steps up, she takes off her cape, all right, she puts on her little tiara, which I don't have one, I wish I did, but I don't, and she steps up. Now, she didn't text anybody. Girl, I'm in no man's land, and they're shooting at me, and I think I need to take the heat. Do you think I should do this? Do you think that's a good idea, all right? Her mom was somewhere else. She didn't call her mom. Ma, I don't know about this, all right? No, she had to attune to her power. There was no hesitancy. And knowing that her whole thing was to bring love. Her whole thing was to bring peace. Her whole thing was just to end the war of all wars because people were suffering. And she didn't do it for the me that was Diana. She did it for the we that was humanity so that everyone could be safe and thriving. And in that moment when she steps up is a moment that she enters no man's land in her full power. Entering the unknown. A path that she could have never foreseen. She had no idea that this part of the planet even existed. But she had trained, and she had trained, and she had trained. She has no idea she's a demigod, but there's something within her that is rising up. There was something in that moment that had to stay in her yes. There was something that knew that there was something greater than her that must at least try. And she did. And in that scene, it was a scene that shifts the whole movie where she's taking the heat, and the wonder part becomes that these men are watching her take all this heat on. She's got that shield. I mean, she's like, bam, 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 and the whole time I'm screaming at the movie theater like, go girl, And there's no fear, there's just focus. And all of a sudden, the other guys rise, and they move on, and they go to save the village. But imagine had she not. Oh, let me go with Steve. Nothing wrong with Steve. But imagine had she not listened to that calling. Imagine if she talked herself out of it out of fear. And her vision was greater than her. Her vision was that greater reality for peace and love. So here's the invitation. Where are you standing right now? Are you standing at a no man's land of such uncertainty, and there's fear and anxiety because you have no idea what's your next step, what do you need to do, how's it going to happen, and you're being called to something greater that is your gift to be shared in the world. We're doing Strength Finders at my primary school, Hexter Elementary, the Clifton Strength Finders. And it's fascinating because there's a short little story about this guy. He dies, he goes to heaven, and he finds St. Peter. He goes, I just need to talk to you about something. He goes, I've always been intrigued with like military history, and I want to know who was the greatest general in the world. And there's some guy over there sweeping, and he goes, that man. And the guy looks, he goes, okay, wait. I know that guy. This is an ordinary laborer. And St. Peter looked at him, and he goes, had he followed his strengths, he would have been the greatest general. So what inside of you is seeking to rise up? What inside of you is being called, but you're uncertain? You're not sure what your next step is. What inside of you must be given to this world in your unique way? Because the beauty of the Strength Finders is that we may all have similar strengths, all right? We have different strengths, but I might find somebody, because my strengths are connectedness, positivity, strategic, learner, intellection, however they pronounce that. So I know in my positivity, my role, not just as a minister, but as a spiritual teacher, but as a friend, as a person on the streets, is to lift people in their magnificence. I'm known for that. I connect people. It is my greatest strength. But if I take a job or I settle into something that has me conforming over here, it actually shrinks me and doesn't allow my gifts to be shared in the world. And oftentimes, it's because we hear things in society. You know, I have another niece going to college, and it's like, you got to get a good job, you got to get a good job, you got to get a good job. As opposed to, what is your strength? What is calling you? And what we bring in is, how is the divine showing up as you? How is Spirit with your unique magnificence rising up so that your gifts are being shared in the world? I've said this before. I had no idea I was going to become a mindfulness teacher. No idea. I'm standing at no man's land in 2014. God, what do you want me to do? And I heard the message. I had no idea how I was going to get into the school systems. And I did, classroom by classroom. I had no idea all the children, all the teachers I was going to meet, fall in love with, and support. I had no idea all the challenges that would arise. I had no idea how to do fundraising. But God has supported me every single step of the way. Every single step. And so here's the invitation. We're going to turn the lights off. Patty's going to come up. We're going to put on a video. I want you to listen to the words. I'm inviting you to close your eyes. Because something is calling you, something deeper is calling you, something in your soul is calling you, magnificently, uniquely you. Actually, keep your eyes open for the first 39 seconds and the song will come on. I love this song. We use it at the school.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter.
Now close your eyes. We can watch this video. Close your eyes and go into your heart.
So we can walk it out.
Where have you come to your no man's land? And you're standing there uncertain.
We gon' walk it out.
Maybe you thought you were supposed to get that job promotion and somebody else got it. But deep down inside there was a relief. Because something's calling you. What are you willing to rise up to? Are you willing to face those fears, the uncertainty? Are you willing to turn to the strength that is God as your life?
In spite of the ache, I rise up, and I do it 1,000 times.
Drop into your heart and ask yourself, God, what is mine to be in this world? What brings me alive? What brings joy and that inner peace so that I may be that infinite presence that is all that God is as my life? What are you willing to let go of? To rise up? What story must be dissolved?
But I promise we would take the world to its feet.
Can you in this moment moment accept in your heart that there is something far greater than that little fear that is seeking to beat you. And it is so necessary right now in this world.
Mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up.
Are you ready to rise up? Are you ready to take those qualities of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and bring your gifts into the world? If something is uncomfortable stirring right now, good, because we're going to allow it to be dissipated. We're going to let it go together. We're going to rise up and support one another, because the divine feminine is about cooperation and love. The divine feminine is about compassion.
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wallach. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.